Let's face it, guys, relationships are hard work. Even having a girlfriend for a year can be a big time achievement for some of us men. But to be married is a whole other story. It's so much that a lot of us as men would need to learn in order to be married for 1 year, 2 years. I know guys who are married for 30 years to the same woman and they have still worked it out. And despite the problems, still going strong. But it also takes some level of self-realization. That's one thing I've noticed. There's two things in life that you need a lot of self-realization with: being a business owner and being a husband. And the reason why is a lot of things go wrong in the business. And usually when it goes wrong, you're the owner and it's your fault. And even in relationships, even though you have problems with your mate, if she's disrespecting you, it still is to a certain degree. It has to take some accountability from you to understand it's your fault. And I know a lot of guys don't want to hear it, but it is true. The first step is the fact that if we have a woman that is disrespecting us, hey, listen, we allowed it to happen. And I want to reiterate it by this guy called the Married Man channel. He talks about it in this clip.
So first off, the uncomfortable truth is this, that however your wife is treating you, in whatever way that she's treating you, in some ways you did it to yourself. Because you're always teaching the people around you how to treat you. And you do that by what you tolerate, by what you accept and what you don't. And it's really that simple. It's like if you accept this, you're going to get more of it. If you don't accept that, you're going to get less of it. And so if your wife is disrespecting you, in some ways you're responsible for that. And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, and if you haven't, like, subscribe, and hit the like button, then you know that I take the path of taking ownership for yourself in the marriage so that things can change. It doesn't always change the way that you want them to, but as you get better at being you, as you level up as a man, then things are going to change.
Let's get back to Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. We know that Jeannie Mai is a very strong-willed woman, and she's always been like that all of her life. She, in fact, has run over almost every guy she has dated, according to this clip.
For example, I have a really hot temper. Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you, where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself, you know?
So you had it.
So I had it, but nobody ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work, sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you, because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, and he was like, like, who? That's not flying here.
So before Jeezy even met her, she had this particular problem and issue. She had never been checked. Nobody ever checked her. Jeezy is the first person to check her, and she's in her mid-40s. And he's telling her this kind of behavior is not what is needed. But over that span of 2 years in the relationship with her, as we believed that we saw something was happening and something wasn't right. And it feels like my man Jeezy was losing respect for her in the relationship. And it got so bad, he had to issue out a consequence. And I want to go back to the Married Man channel here.
And it's important that what's bothering you, the violation in that formula, is an action and not a state. Right? It's something that she's doing, not something that she is. Something that she's doing, not something that she is. The difference is important. And then, so that's the boundary. Simple. And then you just say that. And then if it happens again, you need to add another layer to it. And you broken record this stuff, meaning you repeat it. You know, as you get better at it, you can use reword, you can rephrase it, you can use it in different words, but you just broken record at it first. You say the exact same thing again and again. But this time you would add this. If it continues, and notice it says it continues, not you continue. That it continues allows some space between her and the action. It's going to give her a little bit more room to comply. If it continues, then and then you have a consequence. And the consequence is the slow, incremental removal of your time and attention.
The Married Man channel says something very unique. If you start having problems with your woman, start to tell her, this behavior or what you're doing, if you keep doing this, I will do X, Y, and Z, which is the consequence. And typically when men talk to women about something that they're doing, and when a man has to come out and say it's a consequence, then what that means is I'm gonna probably remove myself or some time from you because this is what you're doing. And that is what Jeezy did. He filed for divorce, the ultimate consequence for not respecting your man with that bad behavior. But stop the show. Recently, Jeezy was seen at T.I.'s party, right? And, there was partying. It was pretty good. It was a 42nd birthday party for T.I. And Jeezy still has on his wedding ring. Can I get a dun 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 sound effect? And still wearing his wedding ring at this event must mean something. It must mean that, wait a minute, maybe Jeannie Mai can save the marriage. And this is something that's interesting because he hasn't taken the ring off. He filed for divorce. He's still wearing it. Now stop the show. Remember Tia Mowry was divorcing Corey Hardrick and she was sending mixed signals. It kind of looked like they might get back together. Then they didn't get together. And then they thought they might get back together. So it could be the case. But from what I understand, Jeannie Mai is pleading with Jeezy not to leave her. But why? Because he's evoking that idea that if you don't do what I need you to do, I'm leaving. And this is something that men have a lot of power in. Again, I know so many guys who go through a certain level of disrespect in a relationship, where guys go through sexless marriages, guys get disrespected out in front of their women openly flirt with other guys in front of them. And guys kind of hold it all in until they can't take it anymore. And that's when a really big fallout happens or some violence happens or anything like that. But what happens is we're not checking this behavior, so you get more of the disrespect. And I'm guilty of that. I'm sure everybody's guilty of that, right? We have to be responsible as men to teach women how to treat us. Like, no, you don't do that. No, you don't say that. No, you do X, Y, and Z right away. And if they want to be in the relationship, guess what? They will stop behaving in that manner. If they don't, then it's no hard feelings. You're not supposed to be there, but you have to blame some of that partly on yourself. Number one, how did I find this person in the first place? This person is not a good fit for me. Why am I, going through this particular issue? How did I allow myself to be attracted to this person? Maybe I didn't work on myself enough. Maybe as a man, I'm not doing what I need to do enough to get the right kind of person in my life. That could be me. Maybe I'm not exhibiting the masculine qualities to attract the kind of woman that I need. And this is a lot of self-realization that men have to do. Women are out there, if they want to believe that everything is a man's fault, let them. But as men, we should be trying to improve. What am I doing to get this sort of person in my life, firstly? And secondarily, when there is an issue, am I talking to the person about it? Listen, this is not going to work here. Maybe in their life, they have never had anybody give them that level of being upfront and telling them what's going on. That doesn't make you a punk or anything else. It makes you a man. You love this person, same thing with friends or whatever. You're setting your boundaries, right? But then at the same time, if she doesn't want to respect those boundaries, that individual lady has to go, period, because it will just get worse and worse. She doesn't want to be there. So for people that don't want to be there, get them out of there. And what it shows me now is that Jeannie Mai, for the second time in 5 years, has understood she's the problem. She's a big part of the problem, And now she's like, look, I'm gonna change, or I'm gonna lose this guy too. So we'll see. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.